Hi everyone, Kelt here, bringing you my thoughts on the British royal family. And today it's a longer video, and it's one I promised you. And it's about Prince William and Harry, covering their interactions when they were young and as they've grown up and nowadays, because so many people were saying that William is harsh with Harry by not forgiving him. Maybe many people don't realise just how much William supported his brother growing up. The despair that he must feel nowadays with the way that Harry has been. So here we go. In the heart of Britain's monarchy, two brothers were born into a world of privilege, scrutiny and destiny. Prince William, the heir, and Prince Harry, the spare. Their lives, intertwined yet divergent, have captivated the world for decades. From their mothers' turbulent pregnancies to their fractured present, this is the story of William and Harry, shaped by love, loss, and the weight of the crown. Before their births, the world was already watching. In 1981, Lady Diana Spencer married Prince Charles, a union hailed as a modern fairy tale. But behind the palace walls, tension simmered. Diana, just 20, was thrust into a life of relentless pressure. Her pregnancies would become battlegrounds of public fascination and private struggle. In 1982, Diana was pregnant with William, the future king. She was 21, grappling with bulimia and the strain of Charles's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles. In her biography, Diana, Her True Story, she revealed throwing herself down a staircase at Sandringham in desperation, a cry for help ignored by the royal family. The press, oblivious, churned out headlines like The Sun's, and I quote, "Dies baby joy," end quote. Yet Diana later said, and I quote, "William was born into chaos," end quote. So then we have the announcement of William's birth on June the 21st, 1982. Prince William Arthur Philip Louis arrived, the heir to the throne. The world rejoiced, but Diana felt isolated. She described William as a calm baby, always watching, absorbing everything. His birth cemented her role, but deepened her loneliness. 2 years later, Harry's pregnancy was different. Diana was stronger, more assertive, but still battling Charles's indifference. She told biographer Andrew Morton she felt Harry's birth was her moment of triumph. Yet rumours swirled even then, whispers that Charles wanted a girl, as reported in the Mirror. And I quote, "Charles disappointed by another boy," end quote. On September the 15th, 1984, Prince Henry Charles Albert David, who we know as Harry, was born. Raised in Kensington Palace, the brothers were Diana's world. She defied royal tradition, insisting on a hands-on approach. William, the elder, was groomed for duty, serious, reserved, aware of his destiny. Harry, the spare, was freer, mischievous, a spark in Diana's eye. But their upbringing wasn't equal. Former butler Paul Burrell recalled a nanny giving William 3 sausages while Harry got 2, a small slight that stung. Harry later wrote in Spare, "I was always second, even at breakfast." They weren't that different in age, I think, so why weren't they both given 4 sausages? I think young growing lads. William's path was clear. At 4, he was enrolled at Wetherby School, where Diana ensured he mixed with normal children. But palace aides were already briefing him on his future. A 1988 Times headline read, and I quote, "William prepares for the throne," end quote. He was quiet, introspective, carrying the weight of expectation. Diana worried that he was too sensitive for the role. Harry, meanwhile, was the jester. At Ludgrove School, he was known for pranks, once hiding a teacher's glasses, as reported in the Telegraph. Diana called him her happy warrior, but the brothers shared a bond. William protected Harry, shielding him from bullies who mocked his red hair. A 1990 Daily Mail story quoted a classmate, "William's like Harry's guard dog. Nobody messes with him." By the early 90s, their parents' marriage was crumbling. Charles and Diana's separation was announced in 1992. Splashed across the Sun, and I quote, "It's over!" Charles and Di split. End quote. William, 10, was old enough to understand. He passed tissues to Diana as she cried, as she later told the BBC. Harry, 8, was confused, asking, "Why can't you and Papa be together?" The brothers clung to each other, their refuge in a fracturing world. So they needed each other more than ever at that time, and they were both there for each other. Diana's bombshell interview exposed Charles's affair and her struggles. William, at Eton, was mortified, reportedly refusing to speak to her for days, per The Guardian. Harry, still at Ludgrove, felt betrayed by the public feud. But Diana's love was unwavering. She took them to homeless shelters, theme parks, even McDonald's, teaching them compassion, a stark contrast to Charles's formal, duty-driven parenting. Diana also didn't let Harry get away with certain things, contrary to what a lot of people have said. For instance, there was a time said that when she had some important guests, Harry was riding a toy car or a trike and hurtled down the corridor of the palace, crashing into the person's legs. He would get told off, but he was still not removed from the situation. However, another incident whereby Harry and William were taken by Princess Diana on a bus trip, Harry mocked the accent of the Indian bus driver, to which Diana immediately got Harry to apologise and got off the bus with her bodyguard. So she wasn't taking any rubbish with him then. Then tragedy hit. Diana's death shattered the brothers. William, 15, and Harry, 12, walked behind her coffin in a public procession, a haunting image etched in history. The Independent wrote, and I quote, "Prince's grief, a nation weeps," end quote. William later said he felt numb, while Harry admitted in spare he believed Diana was hiding, unable to process her loss. Their worlds diverged further without her. And with all the stuff that was in the news since then, Harry wasn't the only one who thought she was hiding. There are people to this day who believe she's still hiding. William embraced duty at Eton, excelling academically. He was diplomatic, and still is, forming the glossy posse with aristocratic friends, as the Mail dubbed them. Harry struggled. His 2000 cannabis scandal at Highgrove made headlines. The Sun, and I quote, "Harry's drug shame," end quote. William, ever the protector, covered for him, convincing Charles to send Harry to rehab for a day as a lesson, not a punishment. Harry resented the spare label, writing, "William was the chosen one, I was the shadow." There were many incidents where William covered for Harry, dragged him out of places, quietened him down, made him leave with him. There are so many times where William did his best to protect his brother. Charles even set up or had a bar built on palace grounds so that Harry and William would be able to go into this sort of, I think it was a basement type bar, where it was a nightclub of their own, where they could invite friends. I think that was a good idea, but I think it also gave Harry and William too much opportunity to just drink as much as they wished. Rumours dogged them both. For Harry, whispers of illegitimacy persisted. Tabloids claimed Diana's lover James Hewitt was his father, citing Harry's red hair. The Star ran, "Is Hewitt Harry's real dad?" In Spare, Harry debunked it, noting Diana met Hewitt after his birth. DNA evidence later confirmed Charles as his father, per royal sources in 2023, silencing skeptics. Yet the gossip lingered, wounding Harry deeply. William faced wilder conspiracies. Online forums and fringe outlets like Global Research alleged that he wasn't Charles's son, but the offspring of King Constantine II of Greece, Diana's rumoured lover, or even Jacob Rothschild, the late banker. The Rothschild theory, pushed on platforms like X, claimed that the family bankrolled the monarchy in exchange for a secret heir. This was rooted in anti-Semitic stories. No evidence supports it, though it is the most popular of the theories. There are photos of William where he does resemble that man. His palate, shape of his teeth, and thankfully William has inherited his mother's looks. I personally do not see anything of Charles in him, but I do see plenty of Charles in Harry. So it's basically an enigma, isn't it? People are going to debate this indefinitely. So these headlines continued. One even saying, like the National Enquirer, "William's true father revealed?" William ignored them, focusing on his role. William's life stabilised at university. He met Katherine, who was then Kate Middleton, a real grounding force. Their 2007 breakup sparked the Mirror's "William dumps Kate" headline, but they reconciled, marrying in 2011 to global fanfare. The Times said, "A new royal era." William became a search and rescue pilot, methodical and private, balancing duty with family life. His support for Harry continued, backing his Invictus Games in 2014. As The Guardian noted, and I quote, "William cheers Harry's veteran mission," end quote. Harry forged his own path. After Sandhurst, he served in Afghanistan, earning respect as Captain Wales. The Telegraph praised Harry the Soldier Prince, but his rebellious streak persisted. 2012's Las Vegas scandal with the Sun's, and I quote, "Harry's naked romp," end quote, embarrassed the palace. Harry's openness clashed with William's restraint. In Spare, he wrote, "William wanted control, I wanted freedom." However, Harry was always jealous of William the pilot. And a fellow soldier said, and I quote, "In February 2009, Harry failed his first pilot theory test. He subsequently failed 2 more times. Despite all the years of personal tuition, he didn't pass the pilot's examination and is still not qualified to pilot a helicopter." So there haven't been any mention of the fact that when he served with the Blues and Royals, he constantly reported for duty late and drunk from the night before, and stating that he had been attending a fictitious royal engagement the night before, or that his heroics when he made every single service unit in Afghan vulnerable And also, there were a platoon of Gurkhas who were drafted in to protect him, as well as a team of protection and all that entails. Harry went on an all-out-and-out strop to be deployed, pushed for this, without a single consideration towards anyone else that was dragged into his demands. And this fellow soldier says this: Harry's not a qualified helicopter pilot. In February 2009, Harry failed his first pilot theory test. The army gave him extra tuition to try and ensure he passed on his second attempt. He didn't. He finally qualified as an Army Apache co-pilot in February 2012. After trying and failing to pass the pilot exam for the third time, and despite personal tuition, in July 2013, Harry was given the title of Apache Helicopter Commander by the Army and was allowed to take overall control of the helicopter during missions. In other words, despite all the years of personal tuition, he didn't pass the pilot's examination and is still not yet qualified to pilot a helicopter, yet he was given that title and people were led to believe that he had a proper pilot's license. So this is why he hasn't been able to take Meghan on any helicopter rides, because he can't. William also covered a lot for Harry, not just with his military stuff, because he's always made it seem as if Harry was his equal when it came down to the helicopters. There are pictures and videos of William standing beside Harry and they're joking with each other and they sound competitive, but William covers for Harry always, which shows a lot of grace. There's also times when William covered for Harry when they were on holiday. This particular time was when they were on a surfing holiday in Cornwall. Harry was throwing bottles and drunkenly abusing teenage girls, it was said. Allegedly, the mother of another teen staying at the Rock said that the prince's attitude to women was intolerable. She said they're there to be used and abused, touched up and mucked about with. And one eyewitness said that Harry was legless and speechless. The catering staff were appalled because they were left to clear up the vomit. Prince William was said to be livid at Harry's behaviour. He's never been involved in Harry's drunken escapades and that sort of behaviour, and he always tried to remove Harry from those situations and cover for him. Is it any wonder that he is so over it now? Harry was rumoured to have had an affair with a worker at the start-up mental health that he worked for. Now the rumour is that she was raped. So this could be a ploy to get money or a settlement. And with Harry's lifestyle that he had, he was ripe for being set up in any way by people. However, this rumour was leaked by Harry's team. So, more recently, there is an alleged case of a victim, several victims. There's a US victim in a case against Harry that has led prosecutors to seek disclosure from Buckingham Palace of Harry's prior bad acts. And a UK victim from when Harry was in his 20s has allegedly got brain damage and has a carer. This victim lives in London and has a guardian. The guardianship was due to brain damage and to help her manage the cost of her long-term care. This, I believe, from what I understand, this information has been dripped out to us. Buckingham Palace being totally aware and approving of it being leaked. So it wasn't a case of whether she had the ability to come forward, even via her guardian, but whether she should. I did a video where I said that she was ready to talk. She was knocked back and there was a setback because of her own health. This woman feels a responsibility to speak out now that there are mentions of other victims. That's all that I know as regards that alleged case, which is being leaked out. More is coming out on that. Meghan apparently knows about these things to do with Harry, whereas she would cover for things like that. William is no longer covering for Harry regarding these more serious things, and I believe that this is why William has lost his patience with Harry now and is thinking probably, yes, I'll cover for you when you're a teenager or when you've just lost your mum because you're doing typical drunken antics that most college students, university students do. But when it gets to the point where people are being harmed, I think that William is obviously thinking enough is enough and would welcome the truth coming out. It's also being said that the way he treated one of his principals at college and referred to her as having some sort of disability, and he would mock her coming down the stairs, and it's been pointed out, why would he mention something like that in his book Spare? Because that is cruel and that is abuse of a disabled person, something which Harry is supposed to support the disabled. So this does not make him look very good at all, and yet for some reason that was in his book, so he obviously wanted everyone to know that. It was also known within the army that Harry had a history of getting very rough with women, and especially with the sex workers while in the army. If it got reported, Buckingham Palace would just go and fix it, and Harry would get off scot-free. As I said, William has helped Harry his whole life, and there comes a time where it becomes more than a liability. It becomes absolutely morally wrong to cover for him any longer. In 2016, Harry met Meghan Markle. Their 2018 wedding was a global event, but tensions brewed. The Mail reported, William warns Harry, slow down. William, protective, as always, urged caution, fearing Meghan's Hollywood background clashed with royal life. Harry saw it as interference. By 2020, Harry and Meghan stepped back as royals, moving to California. The Express screamed, Megxit, Harry abandons duty. The Oprah interview ignited a firestorm. Harry claimed a royal questioned Archie's skin colour. Per The Guardian, racism row rocks palace. William was furious, publicly denied it, saying, we are not a racist family. This totally deepened his and Harry's rift. Harry's Spare detailed physical altercations with William, claiming he knocked him to the floor, and the Sun headlines were Harry's attack on William. William remained silent, focusing on Katherine and their children. Today, William, at 42, is the Prince of Wales, preparing for kingship. The Times calls him the steady heir, devoted to environmental causes and family. Harry, 40, lives in Montecito with Meghan, Archie and Lily, allegedly, championing mental health and veterans, and making a complete mockery of everything that he does and everything he stands for. William supported Harry through school scandals, military dreams and personal lows, but their bond couldn't withstand the pressures of fame and betrayal. Headlines like the Mail's Brothers at War capture their divide, yet both carry Diana's legacy, William through service and Harry through compassion. That is debatable now, with people saying that Harry has lost his compassion, that he is as selfish as Meghan. However, they are Diana's sons. they're forever linked, even though they are forever apart. The Independent wrote in 2025, they are Diana's sons, forever linked, forever apart. William and Harry remain brothers, not by choice, but by fate. Their story is not just royal history, but a human saga of love, rivalry, and the search for purpose. And also, I believe, a story of how a woman can destroy an institution by wielding her power or her witchcraft over a man. Prince William also covered for Harry when Harry did the strange announcement on the alleged birth of Archie. Nothing made sense. So much of it seemed made up. And yet, when Prince William was put on the spot and asked about it, he was very gracious, non-committal, but said how happy he was. Couldn't wait to meet him. However, William and Katherine were said to have posted the famous tweet saying that they were apologetic about the Sussexes using a surrogate. Covering to a point, but also one thing that Prince William has always said is that he values the truth above all else. If there's one thing that he wants to be in life, and that is honest, to always tell the truth. So honesty is William's highest priority, which is another reason why I don't believe that there was ever an affair with Rose Hanbury. That was made up. I believe they were close friends. Maybe there was something emotional there, some emotional attachment on her part. Maybe there was an embarrassing situation, but I don't believe that Prince William was unfaithful to Katherine. I've done a video about this in the past, and I think that that is non-existent. The person that spread the rumour also came forward and admitted that they spread the rumour and that it was false. Harry has always been jealous of William, from when they were little, from toys, from food, from people. You can see him trying to get Princess Diana to give him attention. All William ever did was protect Harry and cover for him and tolerate him. Before Harry met Meghan, he would often frequently drop in to Katherine and William's apartment in Kensington Palace, because he was in Nottingham Cottage, literally a stone's throw away, and he would drop in for breakfast, raid their fridge, as William said, and always bending Catherine's ear for advice. And he and Katherine would also watch their favourite films together, and she was very much like a sister to him. So William shared his time with him, supported him when he was lonely, included him in his family, and it was a very new family. He had not long been married, and he was always considering Harry. But he gives him one word of advice as regards not rushing with Meghan, and Harry totally gets offended instead of listening to a much wiser and very sensible older brother. It was also said that Harry used to like to feel that he could pinch William's girlfriends. However, they did move in different circles most of the time, and it never actually came to that. But it has always been said that Harry had very strong feelings for Katherine. I think he did. I think they were very close, but from her point of view, she was like a sister, and probably he saw her as a sister because that's what he said. But with his competitive streak regarding his brother, with the insane jealousy that he has had for William, to do with how many sausages he has for breakfast, which toy he has, and how much time he gets to spend with his mother, or how much attention that the Queen would give William over Harry, because William was being trained to be king and Harry wasn't. And I suppose the security, William would have a lot more intensive security. They both did, but William was being trained for the role of king. And he would have been treated differently. And Harry saw this, but he amplified it. He became so jealous, and especially when William did well at university and Harry didn't, tutors had to cover for Harry. William always made it seem as if he was proud of Harry's achievements, which is why most of us have had the illusion, until recently, that Harry and William were sort of equal in their university achievements and their military achievements. But they're not at all, because all the truth has come out. And William very publicly was so loyal to Harry and protective of him. William met the right woman for him. They complement each other and support each other and build each other up. Harry met the perfect person to bring out and amplify his negative traits. So for those critics of William who say that he should forgive Harry, it's a personal thing. And I think the amount of support that he has given him throughout his whole life has been above and beyond what most of us could imagine. I believe there must be so much more that William has covered that has never seen the light of day. He's an honest man, and Katherine is an honest woman, and they are not going to cover for Harry anymore. So Harry needs to acknowledge how much support he's had from his brother over the years and realise that he's been on his side, and wake up to the fact that he was manipulated by Meghan. As many of you know, I think there is a lot more to all of this, and that these people are playing certain roles for certain reasons, which should be becoming obvious to us before too long. So, it is a story. Their lives have been very real, but nowadays it's become partly a circus, partly a fairy tale, and very much theatre. So let me have your thoughts on this, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.